So I'm currently going through one of those phases when you look at one of your cameras and you're like, is this good enough for me? Also, welcome to the new setup. It's a little tight in here, but I think it's coming together pretty well. So anyways, I got this Canon EOS R probably about a few months ago, probably right as the R5 was coming out. Such a rebel, counterculture. People are getting the R5, not me, getting the regular R. I originally just wanted something that was nicest quality for vlogging type videos and something that could double as a photography camera. And this camera has done an excellent job at doing both of those. So now that I moved to Maui, I live in this beautiful place with all these awesome spots that require some hiking to get to. I am wondering is this a good enough camera for me to bring along on those trips? Obviously this camera is great for any beginner, any enthusiast, because most cameras are probably good enough for those people these days. But understanding my background a little bit, coming from the commercial side of things, I'm kind of have this higher standard of what my picture needs to look like, just because, I've shot with the Alexa Mini, I've shot with the Reds, I've been shooting on cinema cameras. Is the EOS R good enough for me to shoot that pro level quality for my films? I'm definitely having my doubts because I have shot on this a bunch of vlogging type things. But in reality, I've never actually really tried to make any of the videos I've shot with this look good. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this camera out and I'm gonna try to prove to myself that this camera is good enough to shoot pro level quality. And hopefully that will mean I won't have to lug my cinema camera out on the hikes, or I won't have to spend extra money on a better camera of this size package. So yeah, I'm gonna take this camera out on a hike, just shoot around with it for the next few days, and I'll meet you back here in a little bit. Before we move on real quick, I wanna thank Skillshare for both sponsoring this video and supporting the channel. So I'm becoming a more curious person as I meander my way through life, which is why I genuinely am super thankful that I have Skillshare in my life. Skillshare offers thousands of inspiring classes for creative people from anywhere from illustration to photography to filmmaking to freelancing in general to so much more. So now that I have a new home, I have this kind of weird obsession with getting plants in my home. Not this plant, this is fake. This is just a placeholder. Ironically enough, I found the most incredible course on Skillshare called Plants at Home, taught by Christopher Griffin, otherwise known as the Plant Queen. I'm learning so much about different plants and how they make your space appear and how they make you feel as a creative. So yeah, the first 1,000 of my subscribers who click the link in the description below will get a free trial of the premium membership and be able to explore more into their creativity and maybe just become master at home plants like me. Yeah, now let's go shoot some video on this. So Ann and I decided that we were gonna test it out by taking this camera up the side of this mountain on the west side of Maui for a 5-mile hike. I'm gonna shoot everything in 4K, which crops the sensor out, which it didn't do that. Shoot everything on my 24-70 2.8. Use my Polar Pro VND. Won't really know what any of the images truly look like until we get back to the apartment. I put everything on the computer, but we'll see. So didn't get as much footage as I originally hoped that we would get. Sansa unfortunately was struggling pretty hard on the hike and we had to turn around for her. But yeah, I think we got enough footage to at least talk about it. What did you think of the footage? I want to know, leave it in the comments below. Do you think that the footage that came out of the EOS R is quality enough for a pro level shooter? I was personally shocked. I think that it did a pretty solid job and we got some really great shots with it. Granted, we were pretty much only shooting when the sun was very low in the sky, which made it a lot easier on our camera. But honestly, that's probably usually when I tend to shoot anyway. But I do want to dive into some negatives that kind of are turning me away from the camera a little bit. So when I went into color grade the footage, it's C-Log 8-bit. I noticed that like very easily where the color is just like breaking apart. And when you zoomed in a little bit, you could see just like pixel, pixel, pixel. It does have the option to go to 10-bit color, which gives you a little bit more color depth. But unfortunately, you need like an external monitor adapter to allow you to do that, which kind of defeats the purpose of having a small package and also just costs more. So if you did enjoy the color grade that I put on my footage coming out of the EOS R, I'll make those LUTs available that I made exclusively for the EOS R. Available down in the description below. Also was noticing that when I was shooting 4K, those clips were holding up a lot better in the color grade versus the 1080 clips. But the only issue with shooting 4K on this is that it takes away that full sensor capability, and the 24 on the 4K sometimes isn't always wide enough for me, and 24 to 70 is the only lens I want, and I really only want one lens when I'm going out and hiking and traveling around. Nothing I hate more than switching out lenses and like wind and dirt and like all that stuff going on. So I definitely want to keep the like one lens camera package going. And my biggest issue with the images coming out of the EOS R was that the highlights were not rolling off very smoothly. And what that means is that when your image is going from the brightest highlights into the darkest shadows, there's no like smooth roll off into those shadows. It just kind of cuts off, which leaves you with a less cinematic looking image. But obviously it's a $1,500 camera. You know, it's not a cinema camera. Can't really expect the best highlight roll off. Like it's not gonna look like a film camera. It's not gonna look like an ARRI Alexa. It's gonna look like a $1,500 camera in terms of highlight roll off. But overall, I think if you color grade tastefully and you expose like pretty perfectly, you can get really great video images out of this camera. So my conclusion, I guess, would be that I'm definitely probably gonna keep this camera and shoot it for fun things. But if I ever do decide to shoot, you know, something like that I'm gonna put my heart into a little more, and like I really want it to look best quality, I don't think this is the camera that I'll be taking along with me. Maybe I'll invest in like something like a Sony a7S III. Luckily for me, I'm getting a loaner Sony a7S III in a couple days, I think, so I'll get to check that out. Again, if you're a beginner enthusiast or someone who doesn't need like the absolute highest quality of video ever, this camera is phenomenal and like perfect for that and great all around, super affordable. Yeah, I'm not telling you like go out and buy this. I don't know why I'm getting like so Canon spokesperson-y on you. Like, I don't really care if you get this camera or not. This was more so just for me to decide, and I thought I'd make a video of it. Thank you as always for watching, and I love you.